Well, first I want to welcome you to the Distorted Dialogue podcast on the Metal Institute of Thrashology. We got Karl from the Swedish band An Abstract Illusion. They got a fresh new album coming out on the 17th called The Sleeping City, and I can't get enough of it.
That's awesome to hear. Thank you for having me and for featuring us.
Oh man, uh, excellent album, man. Just was listening to it again this morning, and I really like how you guys leaned into like some atmospherics a little bit more than your previous releases.
Yeah, I think for us, it's been like a continuous struggle to kind of get more atmosphere in the music. It's always we always think like, oh, we're an atmospheric band. We have a lots of atmospheric, but then you listen to the final product. It's like it's not that much. It's not like a lot more than other bands do. But I think we try this time to kind of feature it in another way, which you can hear in some of the songs where it just have like maybe have like maybe a pad and you have some choirs just coming in, but it makes sense in the context of the song. So I think we really strive to make it a big part of the music while not make it feel detached from the rest of the song, if you get what I mean.
I do, and it surprisingly, especially for it being like you guys had a little bit, but for the amount that you put into this one, it flows really well. And your album, the album lends itself to be more of like a cinematic feel. Like this could be a soundtrack to the movie. Like it has the highs, it has the lows, it has the heavy, it has the light. Like it has everything and it encompasses it while not, it doesn't feel like it's forced into the music either. Like it flows really seamlessly,
Mm.
the whole work.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I don't think I think it just comes, I guess, naturally for us. We don't really try to make it cinematic in a way, but I especially listen to a lot of like movie soundtracks, Lord of the Rings or um I mean Hans Zimmer, John Williams, all of the giants of music of movie soundtracks.
Sure.
So you I think a lot of influence comes from that, like how music ebbs and flows in that kind of soundtracks, and how you can, I guess, use the music to paint different pictures.
Yeah.
So I mean, what we do is just music. It's just sound waves. It's not image or anything, but we try to make like, how would this moment feel in your life, like kind of like how would you put music to that. So yeah, I think it's very apt to call it cinematic, even though it's not like what we strive to do, I guess.
But I think it lends itself to a band like yours as it's introducing more and more and more. It seems like you guys are growing more and more and more. And when you introduce like those more atmospherics, it makes the heavier parts contrasted so much more, making the heaviness feel heavier and the lighter stuff feel even lighter. So the more I listened to your album, the more stuff I discovered, like hidden in the mix or like buried in
Hmm.
some synths. And it really just kept me engaged. The more I listened to it, the more of like, what more stuff am I going to cover? What more stuff am I going to find? And it was great, like almost like a treasure hunt while listening to the album because I'm not used to that much atmospherics. I think like, and I kept drawing back to it because I always think of like, what band can I describe that's bigger, so viewers can come and listen to your stuff? And I keep drawing like that new, like a Rivers of Nile comparison, whereas they're very textured and cinematic
Hmm.
also. And your stuff is just like, man,
Yeah,
it really grabbed me, man, really grabbed me.
yeah, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, uh, I think for us it's very important to, I don't know. I think the way we write songs is you first want to have like a focal point. You want to have like a melody, or you want to have a chord progression that you really like, and then as the song progresses, you start finding the little details that you can put into it to make it more interesting, or maybe you have some kind of synth or guitar lead in the background that you don't really, it's not a focal point, but the more you listen to the music, you kind of, you get rewarded for listening to this song several times. So I think I draw a lot of inspiration from, like, kind of like Devin Townsend or something. He
Yeah.
just puts a lot of stuff in the music, and some things are prevalent and some things are much in the background. But if you would remove that, the whole sound would change.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of stuff we work with, and also try to not like make it overwhelming where everything plays all the time. You want to have some of the, like you said, you want to have some softer parts, so the heavier parts feel heavier or bigger, and you want to have some small parts, so the bombastic moments feels more bombastic. You can't, everything can top each other all of the time. You have to like have some kind of variation.
Well, you guys succeeded. How do you guys write? Do you guys all get in a room and like hash it out together? Do you guys send files to each other?
So we live very far apart. We live like all over Sweden. Some live in the north, some live in the south, some live in the mountains, some live in the middle. So we don't really rehearse that much unless we're like going to play live. So I guess a lot of our writing is on the computer. Maybe I have some idea. I record some guitars, and I guess program some synths and some drums, and I send it to the other guys, and they're like, get their feel, or if I just make a full song and just send it to them, and they can come back with me for notes. And so I guess that's the workflow that we have been adopting since everyone now lives so far apart.
Yeah. Now, have you guys always lived that far apart? Because I'll be honest, like even some of your
No,
earlier stuff, like even that first EP, Atonement is Nigh, really like they really sounds cohesive. Like I figured you guys just all got in a room, hashed it out, worked together. It just seems like really like you guys have a great chemistry together.
I think so too. Me, Robert, who plays the synths, and Chris, who does the vocals. We've been together in the band for almost since the beginning, like 16 years ago. So we've known each other for a long, long time. We started out in the same city. It's a really small city called Boden in northern Sweden. I think
Okay.
it's like 20,000 people or something. We met in high school. Um, so the band started there, but then just, I mean, life happens. I mean, I started studying university in the south of Sweden, and Robert met a girl he liked, and they moved into the mountains. Chris started also moved quite far south as well. So, I mean, we kind of, I guess, geographically drifted apart, but I feel like I feel like the music is getting better and better. So I don't think it suffers from that.
Not at all. Yeah, this album's no pushover. I really hope people go out and check it out. I know there's only like two singles out now, but the remain, I'll be honest,
Hmm.
that first song, I don't think you guys released it as a single. That Murmur? Is that what it's called?
Black Murmur, yeah,
Black
yeah,
Murmur. That the first song, man,
yeah.
that set the tone for the whole album for me. I could have just listened to that song on repeat, man. Really good song. Great way to open up an album too, you know? Are you guys gonna
I think
be
I think
oh go ahead, go ahead.
I think Black Murmur is fun because it's kind of, that was one of the first songs that I started writing for the album, and kind of set the tone for like how much synth do we want in
Yeah.
this album. And I think it's kind of, all the other songs came from that, like all of the other synth elements, the 80s movie soundtrack synths. It's like, I just loved it from Black Murmur, and that just built from that.
So that was the very first song you wrote for this album?
Yeah.
Man, that's a great way to set the pace, man. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the first song you write, then you kind of have to beat that. So you really work hard to make better songs. So I guess that's a good recipe for an album.
Yeah, it worked really well. Now, as far as like touring for the album, you guys gonna tour Sweden, play a couple shows to support it, or
We have some gigs that we're talking about doing, nothing announced yet. We hope to we hope to make something happen. We'll do some gigs at least. And then we'll see how much of it falls into place, and we maybe do a longer tour in next fall. But nothing that's announced yet. Yeah.
sure? Now, the album features like a lot of dystopian science fiction themes. And I remember like well, you just said about going back to the 80s sounds. And it brings me back to like movies like the Terminator 2 or like Tron because like
Hmm.
it has that cinematic feel to it. And with the synth, it gave it almost that like Blade Runner-esque. I think that was Harrison Ford, but it gives it that like that
Hmm.
movie quality electronic dystopian sound. Where did you come up with like that dystopian? Like, is that
Yeah.
from literature? Is it from movies? Like, where did you come up with that idea to have this like a dystopian record?
I think, yeah, I think you kind of nailed it with the Blade Runner and Terminator references because uh, we kind of drifting towards the desolate soundscapes of kind of like I guess a movie like Blade Runner. The some like lonely synths or like arpeggios or drones. So I think I think we took a lot from that to just we wanted to we wanted to not just like do a cover of it, but we wanted to make it our own kind of thing, taking inspiration from that, but also how can we make this more an abstract illusion ish, for lack of a better word. But
Sure.
yeah.
I I was watching yesterday. I was watching, or maybe a couple of days ago. I was watching. There was an old video game I used to play in arcades, the Terminator 2, and it had this gun, and he like
Hmm.
drove around, and he like shot all these robots, and it was like this bombed out village. And so like it turned on the
Hmm.
news yesterday, like it turned on the TV while Abstract Illusion. I was listening to your album, The Sleeping City, and I turned
Hmm.
on the TV, and the first thing that came up, not to get political, was the Gaza, like what it looks like in Gaza and Palestine right now. And it immediately took me
Hmm.
back to that Terminator 2 video game as far as like this blown
Hmm.
up dystopian city. And with Abstract Illusion playing, it like all came to one like serendipitous moment of like, wow, this is all coming like this is while it's so old from like the late 80s, early 90s, like ideas in my head, it still fits
Hmm.
today. And like having Abstract Illusion soundtracking it made it that much more real while listening to your album, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't want to drag politics into it, but like, the lyrics just
That's
kind of
fine.
go right along. It goes right
We're
along
we're
with
we're, we're
today's dystopian Orwellian societies, you know?
yeah, we're plenty political in our lyrics. We're not very overt, but if you read between the lines, you can kind of see what we're talking about. So yeah, it's no being political is not a problem for us.
Yeah, I
But
know
yeah,
some
I
bands get
I I
real.
I can.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, it's interesting how music can kind of I guess change how you view, I guess, video or images. So I mean, putting music over like news reports can be a really interesting experiment to see how it affects how you feel about it.
I don't, I might be wrong, but I believe like with Megadeth just releasing a new song last week,
Hmm.
I've been like getting back into Megadeth and going through their catalog. So I remember like back in the 80s, I want to say Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? That song had like news reports of like the atom bomb going off and like
Hmm.
war. I don't remember the video that much, but I remember like now that you say that, the news with metal over top of it, would be like the sickest videos. Like people spend all this money shooting all these video sets. Just show the news, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So where did you
I
guys get
think
your political interests from?
uh, um, I guess for me it's just um, for me it's just reading the news and just watching people talk about politics. I guess
Yeah,
I think for for me I always my family was pretty political as well, so I think I've been influenced a lot from that. But
yeah,
I I think if you're I mean, there's some bands that are like really overt with their politics. You know, I mean, I guess Megadeth is a good example. You don't have to like read between the lines to see what they mean. But then there's other bands that are very like you kind of have to. It's a bit more abstract what they mean. And I think we're kind of that kind of band.
yeah. I I kind of like both. I grew up listening to punk rock, so like I'm kind of familiar with
Yeah.
the in-your-face political. But then I remember one of the first songs to really shape my political mind was Refuse Resist by Sepultura. And
Hmm.
it while it was so like it made me realize I was probably like 14 when I discovered that. And it made me realize that in the rest of the world, people are different than America, and there's different issues that other people are facing. And so then I
Mm.
joined the service and I traveled a little bit and I got to see like some other cultures, and I really think like the diversity in metal and in music, whether it be a woman or a man or Swedish versus American, lends itself to pushing the boundaries of metal further because we're all so different and so unique. I love it, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
So I'm always trying to
Yeah.
see
I
like where
mean,
people get their influences from because I want to go listen to that music or whatever too, you know?
mm. Yeah. I mean, the diversity is really interesting as well. I mean, you mentioned Sepultura. They have like they wouldn't sound the same if they were from the US.
Yeah.
I mean, they have their like Brazilian roots. And I mean, if you listen to Swedish music, you mean you have Swedish folk music influences in like big bands like in Flames, you know. And I mean, you wouldn't get that if everyone was in the same from the same space. So I think the diversity is really what helps push the I mean all music, but metal also like forward.
Yeah. I now that you mention it too, like I really like that In Flames album, just the Jester's Race and the early ones like Lunar
Hmm.
Strain, where they do have that folk music. Yeah, that's really cool, man.
Yeah.
And like you said, like I don't think like you would have that if it was from different parts of the world. Now that I think about it like that. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. But every time I think of Swedish metal, I'm thinking the HM2 pedal and At the Gates. I go right there. And
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the I think Asian two Asian two sound is like I guess the biggest contribution to metal. But I feel like Sweden has so many different bands and so different genres that it's hard to. I guess we kind of get that question a lot because like we're from Sweden and people are like, oh, how do you feel being I guess benchmarked against the big bands. It's like that's fine. I mean, if a lot of people will listen to us because they see that we're from Sweden, and Sweden is like a mark of approval. Like if you're from Sweden, you're kind of
yep.
automatically good, which is
Yes.
not necessarily true, but it's a lot of really good bands from Sweden, from all of the not only metal but all genres. I would say.
I'll be honest, there's only one shitty band I can think of from Sweden, and it's ABBA. I hate ABBA, man.
You hate ABBA? ABBA
Yeah.
is awesome,
Oh
dude.
man, my kids love ABBA, and they just saw Mamma Mia up in New York a couple weeks ago. And like I've just heard so much ABBA that I'm like, I'm good. I don't ever want to hear ABBA again. But
Oh,
like
I
But
love ABBA. I
most
mean,
bands from Sweden are kick ass. Like even like Graveyard,
uh,
which isn't really like metal, but they kick ass too.
mm.
Everybody's good in Sweden.
if you really want to hate on ABBA, there used to be like in the early like like after like the millennium there was a pop band called 18s, which was like two boys and two girls who sang like really poppy version of ABBA, which that was bad.
What was it
So
called?
I mean, 18s, A as in ABBA and teens as in teenager. So if you want to get mad for real, then you can check them out, or maybe show your kids them, and they will love it, I guess.
As soon as I get off this interview, I'm cranking it. The neighbors are gonna love
Yeah.
it. So, what what is coming up for an abstract illusion? It seems like you guys are like hitting the ground running on this, and there's a lot of momentum for you guys. Like, where do you see yourselves
Yeah.
going in the immediate future?
Uh, I think it's hard to say. A lot of the things that we are doing right now is kind of it's not something that's been announced yet, but I think we have a few very interesting opportunities and collaborations right now in the pipeline. And I mean, I guess trying to we're doing a lot of I mean, bands these days kind of had to be like really good at social media.
Yeah.
So we've been pretty bad at it, but we're like maybe we should record some playthroughs, drum playthroughs, guitar playthroughs, kind of like I guess in a way show off some more of the interesting parts isolated. So we have a lot of those things coming up on social media to kind of just there's a risk of when you release an album, there's like whole lot of build up. You release singles, you talk about it, you hype it up, then you release it, and then you don't speak of it again. So what we try to do with this album is kind of like, how can we maintain the momentum that you speak of afterwards?
Sure.
And a lot of that would be like on social media, I guess. Of some, we're doing a like a studio documentary
Yeah.
that we're gonna put up sometime. I'm not sure when, but we're working on it. Yeah, and also like some maybe some touring, maybe some one-off gigs. It's hard to say, but we hope also that with the new album that a lot of more opportunities will come with that.
I notice that's a common problem for bands. Like you get like after the release, and I don't know the time frame, maybe a month, 6 months, and then after that momentum is, then they stop with all types of footage or releases
Mm,
or social media releasing. And so then you like look at the band and you're like, I feel bad because like the bands of yesterday didn't have to do that. They had firms and
yeah,
labels pushing all that. Whereas now, like the
yeah,
band has to be like a t-shirt salesman, a marketer, you know, and like there's a lot of business
yeah.
involved today. It's challenging.
It is. It is. You kind of have to. I mean, in some ways, you kind of envy the band of yesteryear, but in another way, you kind of just have to deal with it and be like, okay, this is the new reality. If no one else is doing it for us, then we have to do it ourselves and get good at it. You have to be good at like video editing and audio production and marketing and merch designs or whatever. So I guess for us, it's like a continuous struggle to do that. But yeah,
I
it's it's
noticed a
it's not it's not the one that it's not the thing that you I guess when you started a band, it's not like, oh yeah, in 10 years I want to sell t-shirts. It's like
Yeah.
that's not why you do it, but you kind of have to do it as well.
Yeah, I realized a couple weeks ago like how little I knew about like the business side of metal. I mean, I'm just a listener.
Hmm.
So I
Mm.
interviewed a music industry attorney, And he was talking to me. He used to be a former manager, so he was telling me a little bit about the business and the legalities of things. And you start figuring in like copyrights and sampling and AI, and there's really like a there's a lot to learn in the business side of metal. And you feel like I look back
Yeah.
at the 80s where bands like Metallica could probably just go on their tour bus, shut the door, and that's the end of the day for them. And
Mm, yeah.
it's a double-edged sword because like I feel like is at the same sense it allows us as fans or journalists or whoever to get closer to bands or be able to contact bands and make it much more accessible, but that's kind of like not fair to the bands either, you know? As we all have our own ideals and expectations.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's true as well. I think coming as a from the perspective of a music listener for me, I think if we okay, from the perspective of an artist, if people engage with us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, we try to respond to everyone or as much as we can. And I feel like as a music fan, if I write to a band and they don't respond to me, then I'm like, okay, fuck you then. If you
Yeah.
don't, if you feel like your your time is more valuable than just being cool, I guess. And if you do respond to me, it's like, oh, that's awesome. This sounds like
Yeah.
a chill band. I will put more effort into like promoting these guys.
Yeah.
So I think it's a way. I think with social media, you can't really be too passive about it, and
Yeah.
that. But it's also nice for us because that's like one of the best parts of the job. Except like writing music, it's interacting with people that like your music or like they feel very deeply about like maybe an album like Whoa or something. They oh this is my favorite album of all times. That's a really cool feeling, and we can't really ignore that when people
Yeah.
say that to us. It's like you have to like be you have to respond to them. Why wouldn't you? I mean, that's awesome for them to kind of reach out to you and let you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't get bands that are like unless you have like a very specific image. But if you're like a regular band, why are you ignoring your fans? That's stupid.
Yeah. But then I think everybody's different. And
Yeah,
again, I'm gonna go back to Megadeth. I was just working on some shit last night on some ideas I had. And I was reading back and I was thinking like those dudes were selling their instruments for heroin rather than like writing an album. And I'm like, yeah, if they had social media back then, I don't know what we're getting from like, like from them. So then I was like,
yeah, yeah,
I don't know, like, but then I work with like you're from Sweden, I'm from America. We couldn't have did this back in the 80s or 90s. Like we didn't have the internet or like now, a band from
yeah.
Venezuela can send me a file and I can review their album within like an hour from them sending it. And to me, that's mind blowing that we can work like that now and grow even faster. It seems
Yeah.
advantageous to us.
I think it's another type of like I guess double-edged sword now that the internet has become so ubiquitous in society. It's like maybe in the 80s and 90s you had the labels were like the gatekeepers of what music were allowed to be aired.
Yeah,
But if
yeah,
you get past the gatekeepers, then you had like a whole machine for PR and marketing and that kind of stuff. So you were golden if you were above that. But now with the internet, like any band can be heard, but that also means that there's so many bands that no
yeah,
one is. It's still like only a few that are heard. So it's. I mean, the internet is cool, but it's also like you kind of oversaturate it as well. But
I
I don't
worked
know.
out. I when I started this little channel, I started about a year and a half ago, and I didn't know what to do, so I just started reviewing records. And in order to cut out most of the shitty music in my life, I don't get paid for any of this, so I started just telling the band, instead of payment, just give me another good record. Like tell me what record, like something underground from your country, city, whatever, and just like introduce me to them.
Hmm.
And that's how like I started just weaving my way around the world, finding all these undiscovered gems. There's so much music
Mm.
from 80s, 90s, 2000s that nobody's ever heard because it's buried. And so it's so nice to
Yeah.
finally get like these recommendations from bands that nobody's ever heard of. And then I started learning, like you said, about the gatekeeping and everything else. And I feel like at 45, like I should have been sped up on this a little bit better, but it is what it is.
I think that's a really cool way of exploring music. I guess for me, the way that I explored music in my teenage years, that was like going on, I guess, YouTube and just seeing what like full album streaming, and you just, oh, I think this artwork looks cool, and just tapped into that and listened to that, or like go into the library and like just renting CDs from the artwork. So that's kind of been my way to weave through it. But I think also asking people about like what's your obscure recommendations is a really good way of going about it.
Yeah, and it was a great way to like obviously everybody's like I have Thrashology in my screen name. So everybody's like, "Oh man, you okay with black metal or death metal or," and through this I've gotten into like power metal, doom metal, stoner rock.
Hmm.
It's really opened up my musical tastes to so much more, just from like you said, you'd find a band in Brazil that had roots in tribal music, or something in Norway that had some folkish stuff. Really cool way to, like you said, to discover music. And I'm glad I did it that way.
Mm, yeah. And I hope you don't take 18s as my recommendation for you.
No, so who would be your recommendation then?
I'm sorry.
Who would be your Swedish recommendation then?
Swedish recommended. Does it have to be Swedish? Can it be Norwegian?
I'll take anything Scandinavian.
There's an old band from Norway called Asmegin. So you have to write this down, I think. Asmegin.
As Megan. Okay.
Yeah. They have I don't know if it's two or three records. I think their last one was like 17 years ago or something. But
Okay.
they do like a really weird combination of like folk music, black metal,
Ooh.
and I guess, yeah, like it's very frantic. It's kind of like avant-garde metal in a
Okay.
way, but they blend a lot of different genres and different voices. They have like two or three vocalists on the same track. It's very interesting, and they have one album that's like one of the my favorite albums from my teens. So that's what you should be listening to.
Okay.
I don't have the album name.
It's okay.
It's
I'm going to cut grass. I'll listen to them all.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's the album which has like a witch on it
Okay.
doing like her brew. I
Okay.
think that's the one. But you can listen to all. It's a
Yeah.
short discography, so it doesn't take too much time.
I listen to a lot of music, a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll get it in.
Me too.
I've been the two bands from like Norway, Finland area. I like Aspherium and maybe it's Aspherum. I don't know how to say it.
Hmm.
And the other one's Wolfheart. I love Wolfheart, man. Can't get
Yeah,
enough of them.
Wolfart's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me look up
like
the
I
other one.
think I think Finn. Yeah, yeah. Can you? I
I'll
don't
look it
have.
up
I
and
don't.
I'll
I
send
don't have
you
a pen. Yeah,
I'll
send
look it
me.
up and I'll send you their profile through Instagram.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I've heard about them, but I heard. I mean, I listened a lot to Wolfhard, so I think Finnish metal in general is something that I'm really drawn to because they have a certain like melancholy in their music that I really enjoy, like a sadness.
I always ask anybody from Scandinavia, like, why are you guys so heavy and pissed off? Like, you guys, like, everything I read's like about how you guys are so happy. Why is your shit so heavy?
Oh yeah, so it's a frequent topic of discussion. I don't really know actually why. Maybe the winters are so dark, so we kind of have to do something aggressive. I
That's
don't
the
know.
same shit Thomas Salkinen said to me because of the darkness. But one guy from
Yeah.
Sweden said, I can't remember who it was now, but they were telling me it's because you guys have a safety net in the system where you guys like in case you I guess like once you get out of like high school or whatever, like if you guys fail as musicians, there's like a safety net so you guys can go like back to school or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the reason why we have so many good musicians from Sweden is, I mean, you have the kind of at a certain age, I don't know if it's like 11 or 12, you get the opportunity to go to like a municipal folk music school where you
Okay.
can learn instruments for free. You can borrow instruments like flute or guitar or piano, whatever, and they have teachers for that. So
That's awesome.
it's kind of ingrained that we have the opportunity to learn music uh, a
What it,
small, in not small age, but early age.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Jesus Christ. And then we have some organizations where you can kind of very cheaply rent rehearsal spaces.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to do that. And of course, we have like the a good secure social security net where like
Yeah.
you can get unemployment benefits. So you you're not really risking too much if you just want to try doing something with music. You can maybe get some unemployment, or you're not cast out of society if you're not a productive member just right after like high school.
I
So
think
I think
America wants
there
to
there's
murder you if you're not productive.
they seem to be wanting to do that. So yeah, it's not maybe the same in Sweden, but yeah.
Oh, I don't care. I
So
call off if the wind blows, you know? Like if I break a guitar string, I'm calling off work, you know?
my guitar got a tummy ache
Hell
or
yeah.
something.
In my defense, it has a Floyd Rose on it, so it's a little bit more complicated.
That's almost like a full day's work of just changing strings on a Floyd Rose.
Hell yeah. Well, hey, I'm running out of time, but I had a blast talking to you, Carl, and I really want to wish you guys a lot of success moving forward with the album, The Sleeping City, that comes out on October 17th. I hope everybody snatches themselves up a copy.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for having me and for promoting the album. It's gonna be really fun to release this one. We got a really good feedback from the people that heard it. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to kind of see what happens afterwards.
Yeah, I think it was great.